Welcome, this is Mukul Yudhvir Singh. We are here at Automechanika 2026 and sitting with me is Manav Kapur, Steelbird. Manav, welcome to Autocar
Thanks,
Professional.
Mukul. Thanks a lot.
Very big show than last year.
Yes.
Right? Almost 900 exhibitors here and a lot has changed.
Yes.
How do you see this version of ACMA Automechanika 2026?
So to be honest, I haven't seen it. Automechanika used to be like a smaller version, a lot smaller compared to Bharat Mobility. But this show seems like as big or as good as Bharat Mobility now because the number of participants has gone higher. The footfall has been exceptionally well. I've been busy all day, and that's the feedback I'm getting from most of my co-members that we've been very busy throughout the day. The show has gone really bigger, and it's only getting better every year.
Interesting. There are a lot of exhibitors here who don't have an aftermarket play.
Yes.
And yet they are exhibiting.
Uh-huh.
Is the line between OEM and aftermarket getting thin?
Absolutely. So aftermarket, especially after this GST change, where GST has moved from 28% to 18% flat for all auto component. Earlier it was 28 for some and 18 for some. So now the aftermarket is moving more towards more organized players. And that's why a lot of OEM players have started looking into the aftermarket space as well. So other than the tier ones, the OEMs themselves have started focusing a lot on the aftermarket. And so it's getting very complicated now. Earlier it used to be like the OEMs were servicing the aftermarket because they had to, because this was a requirement saying, okay, you have to service the spares. Now it is something from have to, it's become I want to. So most of the OEMs want to service the aftermarket now, get some profitability from there as well.
Is it because India's vehicle park, especially CVs and two-wheelers, is now aging, and especially on the rural side, this added to rural side, there's going to be a very huge demand from aftermarket?
Absolutely true. So this is exactly what is happening now. The vehicle park is only getting bigger and bigger. And the access to the rural market is also getting better, especially with the kind of road conditions, the delivery, availability of transportation to all second tier, tier 3 is actually getting even better with the kind of infrastructure that has developed over the last few years. So that is actually helping a lot of companies to go to tier 3, tier 4 places as well and set up distribution there. So that's why you'll see a lot of larger companies benefiting out of this.
Manav, apart from your association with Steelbird, you're also the chairman for ACMA's aftermarket.
That's right.
Is whatever just we spoke about, is this also a byproduct of right to repair now becoming inevitable?
Absolutely. So the advocacy for right to repair has always been going on. And now it's becoming it's become the center stage for most of our discussions nowadays. Like the consumer need to have a right to repair. You cannot just because you bought a product from a particular brand does not mean that you'll be servicing that product with them for the rest of their life. And if you go to the Western world where this advocacy has actually played and come out as a regulation, you'll see that the OEMs are told to share the data with the aftermarket players. If you go to Europe, every OEM is mandated by the government, by the law, that they have to share the vehicle service data and everything with the consumer and with the aftermarket players as well. And this right to repair is actually going to come to India as well, because a consumer should have a right to fix his part, a vehicle wherever he wants to, not forced by the OEM that it has to be done only at an OEM authorized workshop.
Interesting. But then OEMs are very, very sensitive about their products, the way they're treated in the aftermarket. So this right to repair is another enabler of OEMs getting aggressive into the aftermarket?
So I would say instead of having the conversation of OEM versus non-OEM, we should have a conversation of standardized versus non-standardized parts.
Interesting.
So currently, if you say, for example, let's talk about some safety critical parts that gets everyone's attention there. So let's say we talk about braking. So currently, the OEM will say we don't know what kind of quality of product the aftermarket player is making. So we not appreciate that the government allows that and says, okay, you can fix the vehicle's braking outside. So what would be important would be to have a standard in place, let's say an ISI standard, saying this is the quality of braking it is required for a vehicle of this particular size, and whosoever is manufacturing and selling in the open market should be forced to kind of told to adhere to that particular standard. And then the conversation shifts from an ISI to a non-ISI, or probably from a standard to a non-standard. Instead of saying okay, only OEM can make a quality product, we should define the quality and say anyone who makes this quality product should be allowed to sell in the market. So that's what I was saying. I mean, like, we should change the conversation from OE versus non-OE to a standardized product versus a non-standardized product.
Interesting. Should the government then have a much stronger policy and mandate, especially in terms of counterfeit products? And the reason I'm asking this question is because a lot of tier 1 exhibitors that I spoke to, they conduct 3 to 4 raids every month on counterfeit products.
That's true.
And in aftermarket, counterfeit is one of the biggest problems, I
Absolutely.
think, even bigger than the unorganized sector.
Absolutely.
Should there be a much stronger policy in place?
Totally agree with you. I mean, like, there should be a very strong policy for counterfeiting, because counterfeiting is not only giving you a sub-quality product, it is also damaging the country's tax infrastructure, because there's a lot of revenue, because whatever is the counterfeit, it is not being built, it is sold without invoices. And plus, there's a huge loss in the quality of the product, and especially in product safety products and environmental critical products, like, which are looking at the current situation of the air quality in India. Firstly, we don't even have a standard. Then we have a problem of whoever is making a standardized product is facing from a counterfeiting as well. So there's a lot to be done here, but we got to start somewhere. And the starting somewhere, I would say, let's say, if we look at more mature sectors, like, for example, let's say, probably a tire or let's say a helmet for that matter. I mean, these sectors have a mandate that you cannot make a tire or sell a tire in India which is not ISI. So at least there's I'm not saying that there's not possibility that someone will make a funny product and still market as an ISI and sell in the market, but at least there's a standard in place. Whereas when it comes to auto components, there's no standard in place at all. So the first step would be to set some standards first, and then look at it, how can we enforce the standard?
Interesting. So if I'm getting you correctly, right standards and right manufacturing power, right technology will be the preludes
to enforce something.
Interesting. So right to repair will only be really possible when these three things are in place.
So right to repair is something, okay, the only defense that OEMs take is like the kind of products which are available in the market. We don't know if they're going to be good enough.
Will they match with the
OEM requirements? First thing for that to happen, OEM have to open up and say, okay, this is my requirement for my vehicle. This is what is required. And second is, this is the quality standard required. And then there should be a government legislation saying, okay, this is the quality standard which one has to adhere to, and then you can actually enforce that as a law.
As ACMA chairman for aftermarket, are you already in some advanced talks with the government for a better policy?
Yes, so we've been discussing with the industry, with the Ministry of Consumer Affairs as well, that there's a lot of requirement, and as a matter of fact, the ministry is also very keen on working on these areas, and this is not limited only to auto components. They're trying to do this with a lot of other things like the white goods and electronic, like cell phones and all of that. All of these also need to fall under right to repair.
Interesting. One last question, Manav. What we heard here is that the aftermarket growth is really coming from rural India and not from the metro centers. Would that continue in India?
I'm pretty sure the line is again thinning again, because if you look at the rural, like tier 2 cities, they're as good as tier 1 cities nowadays. So, so I would say there are more bigger cities now. Earlier, it used to be like few centers in every state. Now it's like there are multiple cities in every state. Earlier if you would say Bombay, Mumbai and Pune would be big cities. But now, if you go to Maharashtra, Nagpur, and there will be so many Sitara, all of these will are significant size cities, which you could say are not really rural, but they are significantly sized with vehicle park.
Perfect. That was Manav Kapur. This is Mukul Yudhvir Singh signing off for Autocar Professionals. Stay tuned.